It was supposed to be a lazy Saturday afternoon. I had my favorite flamingo float tucked under one arm, an icy lemonade in the other, and my sunglasses perched perfectly on my nose for a long, overdue soak in the pool. Stepping out the back door, I barely took 2 steps toward the water when shrill voice sliced through the summer air like a rusted saw blade. "Excuse me, the pool is closed for an HOA event. You'll need to leave." I stopped mid-step. Standing next to my own pool was a woman I had never seen before. She wore a wide-brimmed straw hat and oversized sunglasses and clutched a clipboard like she was running a red carpet premiere. Behind her, a crowd of guests dressed in Hawaiian shirts mingled, drank punch, and took selfies in front of a large banner that read, "Welcome to Trina's Summer Splash Bash." I blinked twice, wondering if I had wandered into a parallel universe. But no, I was in my own backyard, on my own property, and this woman was telling me to leave. I laughed, half confused, assuming it was some sort of bizarre joke. "You must be new around here," I said, stepping forward. "This is my house." She pursed her lips, looking personally offended as if I'd just insulted her grandmother's cornbread recipe. "That's irrelevant," she replied curtly. "The HOA reserved this space for the afternoon. I'm Trina. I organized the event. You weren't on the RSVP list, and frankly, you're making the guests uncomfortable." She waved a dismissive hand toward a cluster of strangers, now whispering behind their plastic cups like I was the intruder. I stared at them blankly, my lemonade starting to sweat in my hand. Was this a prank? Trina strutted closer, clicking her pen like a gavel. "You can come back after 6, she said, then turned and walked toward the bar that had been set up near my patio furniture. Furniture I bought, arranged now like it was on display in a Pottery Barn catalog. I opened my mouth, closed it, then opened it again. "Ma'am," I said, with the forced politeness of someone seconds from losing their sanity. "This pool is on private property. Mine, you're all trespassing." She rolled her eyes so hard I swear I heard them creak. "No, sweetheart," she cooed condescendingly. "This neighborhood falls under HOA Code 47B, which states that shared amenities may be utilized for community building events. That includes the pool." I pointed around. "What shared amenities?" "That's my shed, my barbecue, and that's my flamingo float. I bought it last week from Target. A receipt is still in my trash." She smirked and flipped to a laminated page on her clipboard. "That's up for discussion. The spirit of the HOA is inclusion. If we start drawing lines around who owns what, where does it end? We're supposed to be a community." I stood stunned, wondering what kind of alternate legal reality this woman inhabited. I had owned the house for 5 years long before the HOA was even formed. My parcel wasn't even under their jurisdiction, a fact I had confirmed repeatedly after they tried to fine me $50 for sidewalk beautification. I didn't even have a sidewalk. I walked over to my patio table and picked up a coaster. It had a photo of my dog on it. "Do public venues usually have coasters with the owner's dog on them?" I asked. Trina barely glanced. "Honestly, it's a little tacky," she sniffed, "which is why I moved it." She gestured toward a box in the corner filled with my belongings, towels, magazines, my Bluetooth speaker all shoved aside to make room for tiki torches and plastic flamingo centerpieces. I stormed back into the house, nearly tripping over my cat, and yanked open the kitchen drawer. I grabbed the folder containing my deed and marched right back outside. I shoved the highlighted parcel lines in her face. "Read it," I said. "This is private land. Your HOA party is happening illegally." She didn't even flinch. "That's a matter for the board," she replied. "We're not going to ruin a lovely afternoon over a simple misunderstanding. You're welcome to write an email, just not during party hours." With that, she snapped her fingers at the DJ, who looked like he regretted every decision that brought him here. Yacht rock blared from the speakers. I felt personally attacked. A guest bumped into me, red plastic cup in hand. "Great party," he said. "How do you know Trina?" "I own the pool," I replied flatly. He paused mid-sip. "Wait, this isn't the HOA clubhouse." I didn't dignify that with a response. A few minutes later, 2 men in polos approached me. Not cops, private security. "Hey man," one said awkwardly. We were told this is an HOA space and that you're not supposed to be here. Can we talk to you by the gate? Do I look like I need an escort out of my own backyard? I asked. Look, the taller one said, scratching his neck. We're just doing what Trina said. She hired us for the event. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my lemonade. You're going to feel real stupid in about 5 minutes. Come on, let's go to the gate. We walked around the side path. I stopped in front of the absurd sign she had zip-tied to my fence. Private event, HOA members only. I ripped it off and tossed it into the trash bin. You're now accomplices to trespassing, I said. Congratulations. The taller guard scratched his head. Maybe we should talk to the board. I pulled out my phone and texted Mason, the actual HOA president. He replied instantly. That's absolutely not an approved event. Trina has no authority. Document everything. So I did. I photographed the crowd, the decorations, the sign, and Trina barking at a caterer about shrimp skewers. I looked back at the guards. She lied to you. You can leave now, or stick around and be part of the police report. They stepped aside. I walked back slowly, burning with rage. As I passed Trina, I offer a mock salute. You'll want to remember this moment, I said. It's the last party you'll ever throw in this yard. She scoffed. What are you going to do, drain the pool? I stopped, turned, smiled, and just like that, I had my plan. The sun baked down on the most surreal event I had ever unwillingly hosted. The scent of overcooked barbecue filled the air. Laughter echoed across my yard, which now looked like the set of a low-budget sitcom. But I stayed quiet, because poetic justice needs an audience. I waited until everyone was distracted dancing, mingling, sipping bad sangria, and slipped around the house to my pool shed. Inside, hanging on a hook next to my chlorine tablets, was the valve wrench. I knelt beside the hidden panel, twisted the valve a quarter turn, and smiled. The water began to drain slowly, quietly, perfectly. Back at the party, no one noticed. Not first, but about 20 minutes later, someone shouted, "Hey, why does the water feel shallow?" Trina waved it off. Oh, the filter cycles sometimes. Nothing to worry about. But people started noticing. Kids were now splashing in ankle-deep water. A drunk man's floaty hit the floor with a slap. What did you do? Trina hissed at me. I'm just watching the community enjoy itself, I replied. Isn't that the spirit of the HOA? Her smile was gone. Her guests started to murmur. A woman scraped her knee on the pool bottom. Someone tripped, knocked over the shrimp cocktail. I stepped forward. Just so everyone's clear, I said loud enough for the crowd. This was not an approved event. This is private property. Trina lied to you. Gasps. Eyes turned toward her. He's just bitter, Trina snapped. He's always been difficult. I held up my phone. Want to see the HOA president's texts? He's on his way. The guard vanished. The crowd thinned. One by one, her supporters disappeared. By the time Mason arrived with a confused police officer in tow, the yard looked like a hurricane aftermath. Vet decorations, empty plates, pop balloons. The cop asked, "Is this public or private?" Mason nodded toward me. Private. Completely. I didn't say a word. I just walked to the edge of my pool, looked at the final inch of water swirling at the drain, and smiled. Trina had told me to leave. Instead, I drained it, right in front of her guests. And the best part? I wasn't done yet. The following Monday, I expected things to simmer down. I figured the pool party fiasco would turn into neighborhood lore, a tale told in quiet chuckles and whispered, "Did you hear about Trina?" remarks during morning dog walks. I underestimated how fast justice moved when embarrassment burned bright. By noon, the community Facebook page was a wildfire. Someone uploaded a slow-motion video of Trina's meltdown, complete with dramatic classical music and floating text that read, "When Karen meets her match." It had over 600 views in a single afternoon. One neighbor posted a thread. Trina tried to hijack someone's private pool for an HOA event without approval. Got it drained. Police involved. Ask me anything. The comments were gold. She once told my daughter sidewalk chalk was graffiti. Trina gave me a citation for having 2 different kinds of mulch. I always knew she was capable of this. It was like people had been waiting for a reason to speak up, and now the floodgates had burst open. I didn't engage much. I didn't need to. The community was doing all the talking for me. But I did smile when I saw the hashtag someone created, Drain the Queen. By Thursday, the HOA board had convened again, this time publicly. They held the meeting at the community center and invited everyone to attend. I wasn't going to go, but Mason texted, "You might want to be here." I put on a clean shirt and walked over. The room buzzed with tension. Folded chairs, clipboard warriors, a few curious teens pretending to care. And in the center, Trina, her sunglasses off, face taut, hands folded in her lap like a schoolgirl called to the principal's office. The board sat at the front. Mason, calm as ever, nodded as I entered. "We'd like to acknowledge Mr. Lucas Branson," he said, gesturing toward me. His property was used without permission, and contrary to MS. Chambers claims it has never fallen under HOA governance. Trina's lawyer stood, a gray-suited man with a tired voice. "We believe there is precedent for shared use." But Mason cut him off gently. "That doesn't apply. The original subdivision layout exempts Lot 36 per city record, and the title deed is airtight." The lawyer paused, then slowly sat back down. The room was quiet for a beat too long. "We're suspending MS. Chambers from all HOA duties indefinitely," Mason continued, "and we'll be implementing new protocols to ensure this never happens again." Polite clapping followed. A few people muttered, "Finally." I gave a subtle nod and sat quietly in the back. Trina didn't look at me. She just stared forward, blinking too fast, her career as neighborhood queen crumbling like overbaked cornbread. That night, I returned home and sat by the pool. It shimmered again, clean and full, undisturbed. The reflection of the stars rippled softly with the breeze. I didn't feel victorious in a gloating way. It was more settled, balanced. Justice, when served slowly, doesn't shout. It simmers. Days passed, then a week, then another. Trina's presence in the neighborhood became a shadow visible only in whispers and sidelong glances. Her lawn stayed mowed, her mailbox unbothered. But she wasn't out walking. No more clipboard patrols. No flyers. No Facebook posts. Some people thought she moved. She hadn't. She was just quiet. Meanwhile, my reputation had taken a sharp left turn into folk hero territory. Kids waved when they passed. One woman brought me a pie. "Thanks for standing up," she said. "We needed that." I started getting little notes in my mailbox. "Loved how you handled it. Can I borrow your pool pump guy? Your floaty game is legendary. You're a legend. Keep that valve wrench close." And tucked in between them, one note stood out. It was written in perfect cursive on monogram paper. "I don't like you. I don't like your attitude. But I respect what you did. TC." I laughed. The Queen had spoken, even in retreat. Then came Memorial Day weekend. I wasn't planning anything big. Just burgers, maybe a few friends, low music. But word must have gotten around, because by Saturday afternoon, the party started building itself. Someone brought a speaker. Someone else brought a huge cooler. Kids brought goggles. The only thing I brought was a single sign nailed proudly to the gate. "Welcome to the Karen-free zone." And below it, a hand-drawn flamingo holding a tiny protest sign that read, "Respect the float." By sunset, the yard was alive again. Laughter. Splashing. No tensión. No rules barked from behind oversized sunglasses. Just neighbors. Real ones. Even Mason showed up with his family. "Thought I'd stop by," he said, grinning. "My daughter's been dying to see the famous pool." I handed him a cold drink. "Glad you came." He looked around. "You know, this is what Trina always said she wanted. She just didn't know how to earn it," I replied. Later that night, as fireworks bloomed quietly in the distance and the pool lights glowed blue and soft beneath the surface, I sat on my patio with a towel around my shoulders, watching the water ripple with peace again. It was never about the floaty, or the drink, or even the property lines. It was about ownership, the real kind. The kind where you draw a boundary not just in land, but in dignity, and make it very clear. No one crosses it without consequences. And if they do, you don't scream. You don't fight. You just twist the valve and let the silence do the rest.